am I good at Apex? Have you ever asked yourself that question? If I ran into myself playing, would I think so? Now, in the past, that only entered my headspace after a horrible day of playing Apex. Fast forward to now, those days are far and few between. I hated the lack of consistency, so I made the decision to show up to Apex how I showed up to all the other things in my life that I cared about. If I have an off day now, it's usually because I skipped all or some of the things we'll be going over today. If you're tired of coin flipping every time you log on to, then welcome. Today we fix that. Leading off, you want to follow a routine and then you just want to stick to it. We have people like Nick A30. I know Nick used to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and run. That was like part of his morning routine. That was part of his, before he would play, he would always run. It would always help him be more alert, be more focused, right? Like that's like what we're chasing, right? We want to be alert. We want to be locked in. We want to be focused. You know, Enoch, same thing. I don't know if he's still doing it, but for a while he was a big advocate on cold showers.
This is why you should take cold showers in the morning. On height.
I'm dead. 2-2.
And I think that's just kind of something that goes way under the radar is if you just melancholy, you know, kind of just stroll to your computer, slap it on and hop into a game, you know, you really shouldn't be upset. You really shouldn't be expecting yourself to perform at a good level because you're just not ready. Like you wouldn't go play a baseball game without stretching, without taking some hacks. Like you just would feel unprepared. You'd feel, and then you wouldn't feel ready, which would make you not confident, which would make you ass. So, okay, that's the first thing on the list is follow a routine, stick to it. And, you know, that routine doesn't have to just be outside stuff, right? It can also be inside stuff. I always hit the firing range. I don't care. My friends give me a lot of, they pull my leg a lot for it, but I just don't care. Like I can noticeably tell a difference when I spent 5 to 10 minutes before I hop in a game in the firing range and when I don't. Like subconsciously, my aim is just shakier. I'm not posturing as confidently, so on and so forth. Like you need to find what works for you. So first things first, I would recommend that everybody gets a firing range routine. Doesn't have to be extensive, doesn't have to be a pro players. Just do something that is gonna warm your fingers up. It's gonna like kind of not relax you almost, but just get you feeling more confident. We talked about the things you can do externally, you know, find out what works for you. If it's yoga, if it's stretching, if it's, you know, drinking a tall glass of water, cold shower, run in the morning, stretch, like whatever. And then like a small caveat to this, this is for my controller players, but if you're an MNK, you should still do it too. I warm my hands up, like genuinely take it to like a little like hand warm up because when I wasn't doing this and I was just gaming, I swear I was about to have like severe carpal tunnel at 25, dead ass. For all of you guys who play, I mean, just anybody who plays a game with a controller without using their mind needs to start warming their hands up, get the blood flowing, just like you would before you run. Same prep. Like a lot of this stuff is like really just common sense that like we just don't think it applies, but oh boy, does it apply. So in addition to following a routine, all right, that's gonna get you a couple steps closer to where we wanna go. You're gonna just naturally become a more consistent player. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to want to evaluate your deaths, right? I'm a huge VOD review person. I'm a huge advocate for it. I think it's the best way to learn what you're doing wrong. However, that does not mean that is the only thing that you can do. It's like this or nothing. If I don't do this, I'm just going to stay mediocre. It's like, that's not true. I think at the bare minimum, you should be evaluating your death and be asking yourself every time you die, recall what just happened. What could you have done differently? And you know what? Sometimes it was just chalked. Sometimes you just got double swung by a duo that's been playing the game since launch. You know, sometimes your back's against the wall. Sometimes you're just not walking away, you know, but I challenge everybody to not just get upset, kick the controller, and GG's go next. Sometimes do that, right? Like sometimes actually just GG go next. But if it's not, you know, the majority of the time you need to be asking yourself, what are you doing wrong? Because the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. Like you just died. It all just happened right in front of you. You know what just happened, like what just went wrong. And if you're not, that's part of the problem. You really can't fix what you don't know, which is why you need to evaluate your deaths because more than likely you're going to be doing the same thing wrong over and over and over again. So if you're missing it, it's just because you're blind to it. And it's because you're not paying attention and you're just blaming the aimbot or, oh my God, roller player or whatever. Okay, so start evaluating your deaths. That should be something you do at the bare minimum. You don't have to VOD review, just review your deaths. And remember, sometimes you just straight up lose. This game's been out for a long time. There are other good people than just you. So death doesn't always mean bad. And honestly, death, when you die, it's like, okay, like it's a perfect opportunity to learn something. So don't get so frustrated and upset that you like take the opportunity of learning something that's going to help you in the long run. All right, evaluate your deaths. That's it. This one might bother you a little bit, and that's okay, because it's all about tough love. And you know, I don't want to lie to you, right? The next thing that has to happen is you have to put in the effort. The reason I say that is this isn't obvious, right? Most people think that they're putting in more time than they think they need to, or they're putting in more time than the opposition, which is so incorrect, and which is such a flawed way of thinking. So if that's your thought process, get out of it. All right, if you're comfortable, it means you're not in a high enough rank, right? You got to keep grinding, right? If you're not playing with the fiends and you think you're a fiend, like, you might want to reconsider, right? You might want to reevaluate where you're at in the game arena of Apex. Okay, so, and what I say by that is not to like try to push this grind mentality where you need to be grinding 10 hours a day, because like that's just not realistic for most. But reason why I say you need to put in the effort is everyone knows who Imperial Hal is. How could you not, right? He is Apex, right? If you check his streams, he streams like 10 hours a day. And like, I think that's generous. Like sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes it's a little less. Like we're just going to say perfect 10. We're going to break it off average 10. I've played with Imperial Hal when he wasn't even streaming. So why is that important? Well, not only is he streaming pretty much Monday through Sunday, 10 hours a day, but he's even playing the game when he's not streaming. And you're talking about like arguably one of the best players to ever play the game. Like that's not what this video is. I don't want to get into the semantics of who's better, right? Like I don't care. Like they're all good. You can make the argument for Hal that like he's one of the best and he puts in as much work. He's one of the most accomplished players to ever play the game. And he's still outworking your ass. He's outworking my ass. It's just no secret to why he's so good. To pull this full circle, it's really hard to expect yourself to operate at a high pedigree when this game's been out for 20 seasons and you're not putting in the same amount of work that other people are putting in. The moral of the story is however long you can play and make the most out of that time. Everything, you know, if you only have 2.5 hours to play, then just to make the playing field remotely even accessible, right? Remotely close, you need to squeeze every drop out of that 2.5 hours to get better, right? No on your phone, no BS, no looting for an hour. It's I'm taking fight after fight after fight. When I die, I learn and I come back and I'm better. The only caveat I'm going to add to this one is if you have consistently been following this and you've been playing the same amount every day consistently and you've noticed that you've had a couple bad days in a row, that's totally fine. That's like the only excuse you have to take a day off. I've noticed that sometimes if you have 2 or more back-to-back days that are kind of subpar, kind of bad, they don't itch that feeling for you, and you leave the game more frustrated than you entered it. Take a day off. I've noticed that if you just kind of keep compounding it, you just get angrier and more bitter, and you get more aggressive, which causes you to be kind of more stupid, just naturally, and your games aren't going to get better. I can assure you. So play every day, the same amount every day. And if you can sacrifice more one day, that's never a bad thing, right? On the weekends, if you can put a little more time to it, it's only going to pay dividends. Just make sure you're locked in and you're totally focused and like you're trying to improve. You're not just like effing around. And if you are, that's totally fine. But it's just like, don't expect to become, you know, a better, more consistent player if like you're kind of just half-assing it. This is like more entertainment thing. But I know that's not you. I just wanted to put a disclaimer, but I know that's not you. So we're just going to keep that moving. So follow a routine, evaluate your deaths, put in the effort, play the same amount every day, bonus if you can on the weekends. And yeah, I'm very confident that if you start implementing this somewhat into your day-to-day, into your Apex life, that more good than bad will come from it. I'm certain of that. So I hope this video served you. Please don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, join the team. All right, until next time, peace.